Good day, children. Sairam. Welcome back to our online class. And today we are going to continue with our lesson number 12, A Walk on the Moon. And this is a part 2 session. And so what we learned in part 1? We learned something about very interesting topic, right? Yes, about NASA. So we gathered information. So if you want to become an astronaut, what you have to do, what you have to study, what physically, how much fit you have to be, all those information we read, right? And also we learned what do they do in NASA, what do the scientists do, and how it is helpful to our Earth. So special days celebrated, and so we read all about this. Now let us continue with our lesson now. And so the first one is we'll be continuing now. We already did this first paragraph. Let's quickly give a quick recap. Okay. Now, humanity will always remember 20 July 1969. So, what is 20 July 1969? Why should we remember? Because it was the day when the first man from Earth landed on the moon. So, how much important it is, right? Years of hard work and a lot of money had been spent in trying to send a person to Earth's closest neighbor and its only natural satellite. Both Russia and America had sent several rockets into space, and Yuri Gagarin, the Russian cosmonaut, was the first man who traveled into the space. So after many years of hard work and lots of money who had spent in trying to send a person to the Earth's surface through a natural satellite. So both Russia and America had sent several rockets into the space. And who was the first person who traveled into the space? His name was Yuri Gagarin, and he was the Russian cosmonaut. He was the first man who traveled into the space. And in the part 1 session, I have told you to find out, do you know who was the first woman who went to the space? I hope you must have found the answer. And so you are going to tell me the answer in our next meeting. Okay. Now, our next one is, let's continue with our next paragraph. And last time I showed you this. He is the person Yuri Gagarin. He was the first man who stepped in the space. And this is the special space shoes. What is this? It is a special space suit which we have to wear if you want to go and land on the moon or go into the space. Okay, this is specially designed for the astronauts. And the next one. Now, 2 American astronauts, Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin, were about to land onto the moon and take the first step on its surface. They were wearing special space suits to protect them from the great heat outside the spaceship. So this is the special space suits. Why do they wear this? To protect them from heat which is outside the spaceship. So there were 2 other astronauts, Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin, who was the first step to land on the moon's surface. So he is Neil Armstrong. He is the person who landed on the moon. He was the first person. Another one was Edwin Aldrin. So these 2 were the Neil Armstrong and the Edwin Aldrin. They were the first 2 persons who landed on the moon's surface. Now, Neil and Edwin, now they are going to say something about their experience, how they were feeling. So Neil and Edwin had worn oxygen tanks. So I hope you all know what is oxygen tanks. So which is at the back, they carry the oxygen tank. So as you travel higher and higher into the space, oxygen level is slowed down. Yes. So that is why the people carry the oxygen tanks on their backs. Backs, this is backs. So that they could breathe when they walked out onto the moon. So when they were ready, they slowly opened the door of their small spaceship. So they sat on the spaceship, Neil and Edwin, and they reached the moon surface and they were ready to open the door of their small spaceship. Neil Armstrong stepped out and started to climb down the short ladder. So from the spacecraft, first Neil Armstrong got down from the ladder. As he put his left foot down on the moon, he said, "That's one small step for a man, one giant leap for a mankind." So when he landed on the moon, when he put his first step, so it was like a big giant leap for the mankind. So man, how much from here to there he jumped. So it was like that when they were walking on the moon. So Neil Armstrong had become the first person to step foot on the moon. Now, Edwin Aldrin's first words on the moon were "beautiful view," to which Armstrong asked, "Isn't it magnificent?" Edwin Aldrin answered, "Magnificent desolation." So, Edwin Aldrin, when he got down, he said the first word was, "What a beautiful view." And Armstrong said it was magnificent. Magnificent means it is very impressive and very, very beautiful. And Edwin Aldrin answered, "Magnificent desolation." Magnificent desolation means it was empty. There were no houses, trees, vehicles, nothing was there in the space. Only everywhere it is found like rocks, rocks, rocks. Okay, so he felt it was empty and it was sad looking. So desolation means empty and sad looking. Okay, the astronauts then began to walk. So when they take a small step from here to there, so it was like a giant leap for the mankind. So when these people, Edwin and Aldrin, when they were walking, when they from here to when they take another step, they just bounced and took the another step. They were just because they were feeling very weightlessness. Okay. For the normal person, it was like a giant big leap from here to there. When we jump, how much distance it is. So it was like that for them. So the astronauts then began to walk about. They noticed that the moon was covered with dust, which stuck to their boots. Here and there, small rocks could be seen. So what they are seeing there? So when they got down from the spaceship, they began to walk, and they saw it. They said it is very magnificent, and Edwin said it was magnificent desolation, and they noticed that the moon was covered with dust, which stuck to their boots. So the boots which they were wearing, all the dust, it just got stuck. And small rocks, they could see small rocks also on the surface of the moon. So at first it was not easy to walk on the moon. So they were very scared to take the first step, and it was fine. They were finding very difficult to walk on the moon. So if you weigh 60 kilogram on Earth, you will weigh only 10 kilograms on the moon. See how much different it is. If your normal weight is 60 kg, 60 kilograms on the Earth, so the same person weighs only 10 kilograms, only 10 kilograms on the moon. So that much they became so light. That is why when they walk, they were just feeling like they are bouncing. The two men had to be careful that they did not trip and fall. Every step they took seemed like a long jump. Soon, however, they got used to being so light and began to hop, skip, and jump about merrily. So, when they took the first step, they were very scared to take the step. Now, after some times, it became used to it and they enjoyed. So, it was like a long jump and they began to hop, skip, and jump. And so, they were jumping, hopping, skipping. So, they were doing all these and they got used to it. Okay. Now, on Earth, even things that are as light as 1 kilogram stay on the ground. Now see, on the Earth, if it is 1 kilogram also, if you keep it on the surface, it will stay. But not so on the moon. Do you know why? Because it weighs very less. It will fly, it will float, it will float. So Aldrin was the first person to hold a religious ceremony on the moon. So they held the religious ceremony also. After landing on the moon, he radioed Earth. So he was talking to all people through the Earth from the radio. I would like to take this opportunity. What he said? What he said? He's saying, I would like to take this opportunity to ask every person listening in, whoever and wherever they may be, to pause for a moment and contemplate the events of the past few hours and give thanks to his or her own way. Contemplate means think deeply. So the people who are listening to the radio, So what he said. So after landing on the moon, he spoke all the people through the radio. So the people who are listening and whoever is listening, he told to pause for a moment. He said just think for a moment and think. Contemplate means think deeply the events of the past few hours and give thanks in his or her own way. So the people he told to thank them, those people who landed on the moon. So however, they only had enough oxygen to last for 3 hours. So the oxygen level is coming down. So they have only for 3 hours the left out oxygen. They had to carry out tests and collect specimens. When they were finished, they left a message on the dusty ground. It said, "Here, men from planet Earth set foot upon the moon, July 1969. We came in peace for all mankind." We came in peace for all mankind. So what did the message they left? Here, that is the men from the planet Earth. Where do we all live? We all live on the Earth. It is a planet. Okay. We mark the planets, right? So here the men from the planet Earth set foot upon the moon. So the year is July 1969. We came in peace of all mankind. So they had collected some tests and specimens. They conducted the test and carried the specimens, and they finally successfully came back to on earth. So this is the lesson. This is a very interesting lesson, children. Read the lesson and understand so that you can answer any question. Now in our next session, we'll be discussing doing some activities which is given in the textbook. So in the next lesson also, sit with your textbook and the pencil and an eraser. So till then, bye bye.